So, hey guys, welcome to the episode 8 of That's My Role. To the people who do not know what That's My Role is a series where we are helping the job seekers, the freshers, and the career switchers to find their potential careers in. Wherein I'm telling you about different career options, wherein you can opt from and listen to the top class professionals in the different fields and help you know what is your That's My Role. Okay, so today in this episode 8, we have with us Pooja Jain, who is a data engineer at Quantity, and she has done her MTech from BITS Pilani, and not just that, she has been a Kaggle expert thrice. Apart from that, she has been a thought leader at Global AI. So, hey Pooja, thank you so much for accepting the invite for That's My Role. It's a pleasure to have you here. I have been following you on LinkedIn for like 6-7 months now, and you've been contributing to society wonders. Thank you so much for accepting the invite for this episode.
Thanks so much, Mansi. Firstly, thanks for inviting me here. It's really a pleasure sharing my experience to all the newbies, for all the ones who are willing to get into the data domain. So it's a real pleasure. I hope people get some content out of it for sure.
Definitely, when you are there, when you're definitely helping, and when you are there, people are gonna get lot of knowledge from you. So Pooja, let's get started without any delay, right? First question I have jotted down some questions for you, wherein I think those questions are pretty important, considering beginners and considering people who want to switch jobs. The first thing I want to know, as you also might have this question, how did you figure out that I want to make my career in data, and data is something that interests me a lot?
So frankly speaking, during my college days, there were, I'll say, some kind of, a boot camps or something, 2-day boot camps. So there we used to get something, cloud computing also, machine learning also, Python bootcamp also, R programming also. And I was like, what is all this new stuff coming up? And for me, it was very new because we've been already learning, C++ and Java during our college days. So getting into it, and people used to teach very high level. Okay, so they'll just tell you what it is, how do you have a cluster, how do you work.
Right.
So you will not understand anything. Okay. But when we heard of those jargons, or anyone, I'll say, any fresher, whoever is learning or exploring those jargons, first thing they try to figure out is what is it about, I'll say. They'll try to figure out that it's data. So what do I do with that data? Then people get to see a lot of things. Either they can, build games in form of AI codes or something. People will try to do a lot of prediction kind of stuff. So there are a lot of things. Then what happened with me, I started my career. I got to know, okay, there are so many things. So I thought of doing a postgraduate diploma in data science, where I got an opportunity to understand what this data world is all about. So there I got exposure to, the R programming, Python programming, Tableau. These are the technical jargons that you've heard. But that did not satisfy me enough. I was like, I want to know what exactly, how, as you guys talk about, right? What these people might be doing during their jobs. So my first job role was a data analytics job role. That was a kind of an internship. There I got to learn more about, SQL, more about what you need to understand from data. So see, I'll tell you, any data domain is not about the tools and the technologies only. It is more about what do you need to get out of it. Right. It could be you have dump and you need to get value from that. It could be you need to get some insights to make decisions. It could be that you need clean data to make machine learning models so that you can get some outcomes. So there could be a lot of stuff. So there I got to understand more about the data analytics role, work on SQL, Tableau, Python. So these are the 3 top skills that I started my career working with. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Definitely, because at the stage wherein people aren't able to figure out कि हमें बनना क्या है, this is the more insightful and the motivating thing कि सभी लोग एक उस programs they get through it while exploring. You only get to know what is your interest actually in. That was pretty inspiring from you as well. So, Pooja, one more thing I have, the next question that I have for you is how does, now you have been into this data field for like 4 years now. So, how your day looks like now? Like, if you want to explain what you do and how your day looks like to a pretty fit fresher, what would you tell it to be as?
So it comes from the previous question, connecting.
Right.
So yeah. So what I have been observing, so when I talk about my day, so there have been quite a different kind of days. But when, if we talk about a perspective, you know, when someone gets new as a data engineer into any
Right.
project, so then they get to learn a lot of things. Firstly, you can say there are existing developed things. You can say existing pipelines, existing jobs, workflows, to understand those jobs, to understand those workflows. And then to, you obviously being a data engineer, you need to query. So they
Right.
get opportunities to query, to find the, you know, disruptiveness or
Right.
incorrectness into the stuff,
Mhm.
and write programming scripts. That's where programming language comes into picture. That's where
Mhm.
bash scripting or Linux scripting, that we say the basic requirements that a data engineer should have. So these are small things that a data engineer does. Again, based on experience, based on requirement, there might be times where you need to understand what kind of storage should be there, what kind
Right.
of a pipeline you need to create, what
Right.
tools to use. Yeah. But if you talk about a very generic perspective, your agenda would be, you'll be given some kind of task. You need to figure out what exact tool to use, what to get out of it, and then basically align your task accordingly. So this is something very a very fresher person would be looking forward.
Hmm. Right,
Yeah.
right, right. Okay, Pooja. So in this field, wherein you have this job title as data engineer, data analyst, then we have data scientist. Is the work similar for all the job roles, or there are different responsibilities for different? So if you could give us a gist about all of them, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So just to break the myth, all the three are different and completely different. Like you cannot. So see, somewhere or the other, the technical skill set definitely gets into use. The
Yeah.
concepts get into use in one or the other role. But the role, if you talk about the role alike, it's a like all three are different. So I'll just
Okay.
start from a data perspective of a data analyst, as I started my career
Sure,
from
sure,
there.
sure. Yeah.
So a data analytics more works on, you know, analyzing the data. They need not care about basically from where the data is coming. They'll be
Okay.
getting the data, they'll be analyzing the data, they'll be visualizing the data. Between that, there could be a lot of mathematics involved. How do you analyze data? You use statistics, you use probability, you use visualization. Some
Right.
people do not get exposure to work on visualization tools. They prefer working on Python so that they can do some Python libraries they can use in order to visualize, or R programming, as R programming is majorly for analytics and related tools, so that you can, you know,
Right.
incorporate your data into it. So these are the, you know, in a small gist, only 3 to 4 skills, but having too much to explore. That's a data
Hmm.
analyst, as from my
Right.
experience of telling. Whereas if you talk about data engineering, everyone wants to, if you would have heard, right, last year 2021, everyone was data science is the hottest skill kind of stuff,
Right. Correct.
right?
Correct. Correct.
But how are those data scientists, machine learning engineers, how are they getting data? Someone has to work on it, right? Someone has to get the data, scrape the data, or you can say make pipelines to get the data updated. It could be streaming, it could be batch, a lot of stuff. So the purpose of data engineer is to get the right set of data in the right format with the right tools. It could start from scratch. You can say, you know, there are multiple sources. There could be CSV files, there could be emails, there could be live streamings, there could be notifications. You would like to get the data from there. It could be in the form of batch, that you want to get the daily updates of the data. It could be every 5 minutes you need the data, so you'll prefer streaming pipelines to be built. So
Right.
there comes the role of a data engineer. They'll be taking out that data, they'll be preparing data lakes, data warehouses, data marts based on the requirements, using SQL, cloud tools, or Hadoop or Cloudera tools, whatever required, and then build a pipeline. And the end, right, when we actually create a data mart or a data warehouse, from there, the people who are using it, the end person, Those are the data scientists. They are more involved into what do they need to get out of it, what machine learning model to apply, what other teams can take that data, what other use cases can they build. So data science is again a very vast domain. Data engineering, you have to work on data warehouses, you have to do this, that. But data science again, the people who are working on AI, machine learning, deep learning, natural language processing, and a lot of stuff. There are still teams who call all of them a data scientist. As each and every role differs from one another.
Right. Correct.
So majorly data scientist involves a lot of processing of the data, creating machine learning models as well, doing visualization, storytelling, getting a lot of final outcome that what a stakeholder can decide based on the analysis, based on the modeling that they have done. So that is a scientist perspective would be.
Got it. So it's not just one role, it's basically an umbrella which contains all of the roles, and then you just get a title, the superset. Got it. Thank you so much for even clearing over here, because at the beginning of the episode these things get cleared. The rest of the part is pretty easy to relate to. Okay, so next question that I have is, if you were to tell to a beginner that okay, one has decided that data is something that interests him or her, then what is the roadmap, but not just roadmap, what is the way he could get into the field of data, which is actually pretty easy because you have been gone through the phase, so you might be knowing that okay, first you need to do this, then this, then this. So what's the roadmap you would suggest to the people who want to go into the field of data?
Okay, so there are 3 things that are most important, I will tell.
Okay.
First, you need to know some or the other kind of programming. You need not to know linked list or graph level, but you need to know the when you say problem solving ability. When a programmer is expected to have problem solving ability, they need to understand how to break down a problem, how to solve that problem. And there, the language that is preferred nowadays, where what I have seen everywhere, is Python. That is what I see from my experience. Although it can vary based on your roles, right? That is something. Then the other thing, if you are working with data, you need to understand databases. You need to understand the concepts of queries. Without that, living into any domain for a longer period of time is going to be really hassle-full. Like it's really important to understand that, okay, I need to query. Because at the end of the day, wherever you store the data, it will be some or the other databases. It could be SQL database, SQL database. But you need to understand the concepts of querying, concepts of that. Okay. That is the primary 2 things. Third part is to understand and analyze the data. When I say analyze the data, is basically understand the domain. What is the data? What is the outcome that we are trying to get? Tools is something that will keep on changing. Earlier, people used to use Hadoop. Now, people are using. If you will look out into the data engineering industry, you will see that there's a majority of people who are looking to get into either one of the cloud, domains. It could be AWS, GCP, or Azure. So focus should not be on the number of tools you have, but the basic concepts that you need to take care. So programming, databases, and the third is in order to understand how to process that data. Now, once you have understood, right, how you need to deal with that data, there could be a lot of tools. Supposingly you're doing batch processing, you can use Spark. You can have some basic understanding of Spark so that the person who is trying to interview knows, okay, he has understanding of how you have to deal with the data. Because, concepts will come along with your experience. It's not, you cannot know entire PySpark right now or entire Kafka right now, but you can at least know what are the categories of data, what is data warehouse. So these are basic stuffs. And if you remember, like if you've been from a CS background, I'm sure you would be at least knowing that working on SQL, in the college times, you will definitely be taught about such kind of jargons. What is a data lake? What is a data map? So even having some basic idea definitely works.
Got it. So, Pooja, in our college times, when people see SQL, they see it like it's a very easy language. It's very easy as compared to Java, or maybe C++ or any oops language, right? So does this look like the SQL is doing queries? Is it that simple, or is it just that one line query that is required even when you were dealing with the data warehouses and stuff like that? So is it that, or
So it's not that easy, frankly speaking. When we work in colleges, you have some 20 rows or 100 rows, right? And you just have to query, you have to do joins, and you understand the concept.
right?
And that is expected. Optimization comes when scenarios are in picture. You need not to know each and every possibility of how to optimize the query. But when you will have huge amount of data, a normal select will not work for you. Just like giving a very small example. It will keep on rolling and rolling all the time for you. So you need to understand that part, that okay, now I need to apply subqueries, I need to apply joins, I need to apply where conditions, I need to apply the the window functions, or whatever stuff you have in it, and that will come based on your scenarios. Doing the select start is very simple, right? But when you actually work on huge amount of data, right, you eventually get to deal with such scenarios, and that is where you actually learn. I've never learned in my things, to print those 200 lines of queries. That is I learned when I was during my in my job period, I'd say.
Right. Got it. Because when we're in the college, it seems like MySQL is a very easy task to do. But when I actually get to, and when I personally learn the data and stuff, I need to break that myth of people speaking SQL is very easy. You can get into the data. It's not that easy. You have to query, sub-query a lot of things, and then you get to find the data from the the database. Okay, so Pooja, according to you, what do you think this data as a career option, like not just 5 years or 10 years, what do you think the scope of data that's going to be?
Okay, so my purpose, or I'll tell you frankly, my interest was not into data engineering until I dived into data engineering. So my interest was more into data science or machine learning, I'll frankly tell you. But when I started with that, right, I know at some point of the time the machine learning models or the concepts of cleaning or a lot of things would get optimized. They will get they'll get automatized. You will get options that okay, you can automate it, do a click and drop and upload the data set, and your model is ready. But I don't want to stop myself there. It should not be that okay, that's it. So that is where I decided, okay, I need to get into the domain of data engineering. I need to understand data, from where is the data coming. I'm just blindly using the data. How is the data process? How do they categorize that? Okay, this much amount of data is only required for your machine learning models. There's a lot of stuff, right? So if I tell you, as per my vision, the data is increasing, the sources are increasing, and people have now started to move from legacy systems to a lot of latest I'll say cloud systems, or whatever you can call that out. And this will continue to grow because the community of data engineers is still very small, very, very small, and the demand is really high. People want to actually people are looking for data engineers, I'll say, industries, or but the most important point that comes here is that people just understand is that only 2 to 3 tools and you can become a data engineer. But that's not how it is. Yeah. So that is why, as per my vision, like not just data engineering, if you talk about 10 years, 20 years down the line, what I understand is the requirements will change. There could be possibilities that the requirements will change, but the data career is never going to change. The roles will change. Earlier we used to just have data science. Now you are getting that 10 types of division. So that 10 can become 20.
Correct.
So we can get more splits, we can get more categorization. But the data domain can never, drown, I will say, because the data is so much people are required to handle that data.
Right.
Even the ones from non-technical background, they need to understand some concepts, even if not major. Whoever is dealing with Excel sheets, right now, they need to understand the analytics using Excel. That much is for them as of now, but later when this won't happen, they have to skill up them.
Correct. This is you've pointed out very good thing that though this field is never gonna drown down, right? Obviously things are gonna automate. The things that you're doing here today manually, they'll automate, but definitely there's scope to learn, upskill and grow in the field of data, because data is huge and people wanna find out the insights out of them, and that's never gonna die, because as businesses are growing, so they need data to grow it themselves as well. Definitely right point out. Pooja, one thing again I want to know, that what are the skill sets that the recruiters are actually looking for in a fresher when they're hiring them? Is DSA equally important when they're hiring a data engineer?
So so skills is something we cannot categorize. Like companies might prefer people who are just good with SQL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that again depends. If you understand SQL, if you know how to work on huge amount of data, they might feel good. Few people who want only programming, they might say, okay, if you know Python very well, if you clear the problem solving rounds, communication rounds, you're good too. But as per my understanding and experiences that I have seen in these days job descriptions, it involves DSA. Now, as I said right, every data domain will require DSA. But in the perspective of data engineering, if I specifically talk about, they require programming skills in a manner that should, be of intermediate level. I will not say very high level, and not even, the top point of intermediate. Medium of intermediate works very well. If you know how to deal with strings, you know how to deal with arrays, and a lot of complex dictionaries, sets, various use cases that you can. So intermediate level works a lot. And same goes with SQL. As I told you, that you need to understand how to play along with the tables. Right. Because there you're not being judged on how much volume of data you're having. There you're judged on how can you manage if you have 10 tables. Right. How do you manage with those 10 tables? How do you query? Yeah. How smartly you solve those problems? That is more important. Yeah.
Got it. So it's basic skill set is Python, and some amount of DSA is important. And as you said, SQL. Is this the basic three things you would say?
Yeah.
Or there are other you can...
So these are three key things that I can point out, like, for sure. Okay. Apart from that, for an example, if you come from a CS background, right, you would have done some kind of project that would you definitely add, because nowadays adding projects into your resume, even if these are capstone projects, it's an add-on. It is preferred. So even if one has built a platform, normal website, I will say, they would have used some kind of data. So they would like to understand how for example, if you say anything like Zomato, Netflix, anything, like any website, if you want to build a website, there could be a kind of, a use case that you would like to relate to data. Supposingly I say banking. So what other table should you have? This is logical thinking. But you understand the data, right? You understand, okay, how am I going to take that data? It could be banking. So for banking, if I say customers will be there, accounts will be there, then a lot of categorization will come up. So that way it is easier to define. So problem solving, logical skills, communication skills, storytelling skills, these also play an equal amount of importance. Like, I don't know, but still I don't see that people actually give a lot of weightage to these soft skills. But these are important, because if you're able to convey your ideas effectively, and even if you don't know some number of tools, they know that, okay, you can learn them, because you show that ability to them.
Right. So initially having to know this DSA, Python, SQL is good on. After that, if someone wants to get into this field, what is the skill set you would advise to have in the bucket?
Yeah. So as per the demand, and if someone is a fresher, basic cloud computing skills,
and
data processing skills. So when I say data processing, I specified, right, streaming and batch processing. So we use
Right.
Kafka and Spark. So having
Okay.
basic concepts, what is an RDD, what is a flat map, like please don't get overwhelmed with these words,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
these are the basics of Apache Spark that one must know. The person is actually looking forward into their career to work on those things. Because
Right.
someone will be very clear that if I have to work as a data engineer, I need to learn those skills. So everyone
Right.
will learn some basic top 10, small things, so
Skills.
that it's easy for them to get that job.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
these
yeah.
are few top skills that are preferred.
Okay, got it,
Cloud
got
is something very important, I will say. It's
it.
really required these days. So
Mm-hmm.
having basic cloud computing skills is a real added advantage.
Got it, got it. Because no, none of the, I've heard before this cloud computing is really important. But even when I did this, I felt that cloud computing is a must-have. It's not must-have,
Right.
but good to have if you know that beforehand. So thank you for telling us about this as well. Okay, Pooja. So now that we know what are the skill sets, how does the day look like, and all of those things, you have been into the field of data, and once you might also, have a mindset of what do you think this field of data is, and now what you're experiencing. So could you please tell us some insights on, what your expectations versus reality when you become a data engineer, and when you were just, uh, being into this MTech, and you're just thinking कि अच्छा ऐसा होता होगा data में. So anything or any experience you want to share about it?
So, okay. As we started, right, as anyone in the career of data starts, they are very fascinated, I will say, or they fancy machine learning models. Or if you're talking about data engineering, writing Spark jobs or creating pipelines, working on architectures or data visualization. So people, dream a lot about they'll get opportunity to present their work, create presentations,
Right.
show it to the stakeholders, and a lot of. So they expect, like what I initially thought was, right, whatever the entire data domain looks. We used to initially how it used to be, right? I used to think, okay, I'll be analyzing the data, I'll be creating the models, I'll be visualizing, I'll be creating a presentation and giving it in front of the stakeholders. Right? So that was something we all fascinate about, because we have seen that, right? Everyone feels, okay, I've built dashboards, I should be giving the insights, I should be giving the inputs. Whereas that's not that actually happens. Because that actually doesn't happen. I'll tell you, each category is different. We say that, okay, storytelling is important. But when people go in front of the stakeholders, the freshers really do not get opportunities that soon. It's hard, but the real truth that it takes time to reach that point. And till that time, you creating amazing presentations, beautifully visualized, and your ideas getting summed up with other teammates' ideas and going in front of the team, in front of the stakeholders by someone else might hit you somewhere. That actually happens, and that's true, because in the initial phases you'll feel like, I've been working on this part of the stuff, I've been doing this part of the stuff, whereas it's not how it actually looks like. Even when I was working, started my career as a data engineer, I used to think, okay, I just have to, I was not very focused or specific about the kind of data you work with. So I'll tell you, in data engineering, you need to deal with all kind of data, the worst and the worst, and that too in a very inappropriate manner, I would say. There's a lot of historical data, then real-time data, then streaming data, and then you need to finalize strategies. So I had never thought that I'll get opportunities to actually, think on the part of decision making, finalize the architecture. So as you keep growing, right, you get such kind of opportunities where you actually understand, okay, if you're very good at something, you will definitely get opportunities that can depict your personality. And it was like, I used to get opportunities, understand the architecture, whatever the existing is, and then prepare a new one, that what tools to use, what language to use, what kind of data modeling tools to use, how to prepare your model in a manner so that it will be accepted. Doing a lot of brainstorming sessions. It's awesome. Like when you work with teams and discuss so many things. So I'll say like working in any job, what we feel is that we are just going to do sit at our desk, we'll get a piece. You just have to do your code, even in data engineering, data analytics or ML. But when you get opportunities outside that, that's really beautiful, like something you want to get. But starting period be hard sometimes. So we have to have patience, be consistent and keep upskilling. And also unlearning is really important.
Right.
Keep learning because there is a huge amount of skill set growing and growing. You need to know what's right and what you need not to know anymore.
Right. Got it. So with that question, Pooja, what do you think are the pros of being a data engineer? Since you've told us about reality, you've told us about expectations that you had, and in fact, any person who wants to be, a data engineer, because सबसे पहले that we go and Google what does a data engineer do? उसमें lines लिख कर आ जाता है, analyze and do this. It keeps the mindset in our selves कि अच्छा ठीक है, all of those things is one person doing, but it's not the case in reality. So what do you think now are the pros of being a data engineer? Obviously, one is career growth all the time because data is evolving. You need a data engineer. What apart from that do you think are the pros of this field?
Small company. Pros are you just not to get on working with from where the data is coming, but you know what to do with that data. And since you are the only person or you are only a group of team who know what to do with that data, you get to experiment with a lot of stuff. Extremely lot of stuff, because there you might have to act as a consultant who can work, who can help the machine learning engineer also work onto it. So in order to help them understand, the domain is very niche. As of now, you get a lot of opportunities that you'll get in some or the other domain for sure. But the kind of exposure that you get, right? You get to work on a lot of skill set. Like I'll list you the recent, like last 1.5 years, the skill set I have been working on. It has been Python, it has been SQL, it has been Scala, it has been Spark, it has been Kafka, GCP, AWS, Hadoop, Cloudera, Big Data, Bash scripting, Linux, and the list goes on. So how overwhelming it is and equally how interesting it is.
Right.
And along with that, you get opportunities to work on visualization tools. Specifically, when you work as a data engineer, people generally think that they do not have to work on, data visualization. Right. But data engineers do get to work on it. So you just find the, right set of match between the interest and what role you're playing.
Yeah. Right.
And for cons, sometimes it gets very limited and you have to stick to either a category of cloud or the set of computing skills that you're working on, programming and databases. So if you want to explore, right, for example, if you want to do high level of visualizations, machine learning, AI, then the con that you need to actually, get out of the zone. Because data engineering is a very small cocoon. But the point is, it is a cocoon. And in order to get out of it, you need to, switch a little bit. And at that moment, not having the experience of any machine learning or any that kind of stuff, data science level stuff, that could give a little bit, you will feel like, okay, I should be learning this more, I should be doing this more. And that happens because initially data science was there. Now data engineering. And in the coming times, we will have ML, AI and all these things. So sometimes I feel that when we get too much involved into data engineering, right, 1, 2, 3 years, and if you want to explore something, it's hard to get out of it. For me, like what I have seen. So,
see, upskilling, as you told, that is very important. No matter at what field, at what career option, or whatever you are there, because things are gonna go by. Earlier, we used to, work on some other kind of databases, right? Where we need to write down everything manually. Now, everything is automated. Definitely in the certain times, this thing that we're doing manually is going to be automated as well, right? Some of the other tools are going to replace it. Upskilling is the only way we can, move on in the career and, move ahead, being that. So very well, rightly pointed out over here, Pooja. Now we have this one last question as we're coming to the end of this episode. What suggestions you would give to, the freshers, the people who want to switch careers, come to the field of data? Any kind of suggestions or tips or advices you want to give at the end of this episode?
Yeah, definitely. So first, do not get overwhelmed or overhyped by the terminologies that you see around you. Data science, data engineering, hot skills, mostly paid, highest payable. Like there's a lot of jargons and a lot of, such terminologies getting used. And these actually create the mind of freshers, because now people are seeing that freshers are getting jobs. Earlier we used to be like, okay, 3 to 4 lakhs of job per annum. Getting into an MNC was a challenge. Now people do not want to get into those opportunities. Now people are looking for, a minimum of this much amount of package should be there. And then they run into those fields without knowing the agenda, without knowing the skill set. So firstly, be specific, because getting into a data domain without any agenda will not help you in any long term. So being very specific, I know it's not easy to define that should I become a data scientist, data analytics, but at least you can know what are you willing to get out of data. There are a lot kind of people I've seen. Few will say, I like to play games. Okay, because this COVID has really made that picture in mind. So people really they like playing games and they want to understand the background of gaming. So you know what data career you can choose when you love gaming. Similarly, if you like visualization, or even if you like talking to stakeholders, there are a quite lot of data roles that can be of a specific domain that you can get into. Right, we talk about business intelligence developer, data analytics, business analytics. So these are different domains dealing with data, but you are very less involved with tools and technologies. So you need to understand the right requirement you want. It should not just be because it's a hot skill or the highly payable skill you get into it.
Right. Absolutely right.
That is like real important tip, I will say, because nowadays all that I see is people are just running behind it and they're not observing that what is actually growing. Right, because if you focus on your skill that is helping you grow, you will get a long way ahead. Like even I'll say, like I'm just 4 years of experience of people who are working as freshers but who are actually interested to work in those domains. They're doing super, like they're doing amazing, I'll say.
Right. This is the reason, Pooja, why I actually started up the series, and people are just running towards the hype that is going away. Like right now it's of software engineers because people assume it to be the most paying jobs. But according to me as well, and what I have experienced and seen along the journey, is that it's not just what package you are getting a job, like as a fresher, when you're starting your career from your college from the campus to corporate, like the life transformation. It's not just the one package or the one X and X CGPA or X and X CTC that you're getting. Over and over experience, it's gonna go high. And I don't know why people are running after getting into like 50 lakhs CTC or 100 or 1 crore, because they think just shuru mein mil gaya, that is enough. While what has to be the mindset is, मुझे सीखना है. I have to learn and know what is the skill. Because once you know what you actually love doing, or once you know what you actually want to do, and then upskilling and learning about that field, you can definitely go and get those packages you're getting to as a fresher, right? But people are just running after, and they do not even know is their actual interest lying into that field or not. And this is the reason why people are switching careers, why people are stopping and leaving their jobs after 2 or 3 years of experiences or getting into the job. So this was one of the reasons, and thank you so much for pointing out the end of the episode as well, because this needs to be highlighted. This needs to be talked more about when jobs, careers, and choosing careers are taken as an option. So thank you so much, Pooja. Thank you so much. It was really, really enlightening episode. I think lot of things, बहुत सारी चीजें cover हुई, बहुत सारी चीजें, बहुत different perspectives came upon. Thank you so much for telling all about your experience and sharing here on this platform. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me here, Mansi.